Hi, friends. Happy solstice. I had to get on here and just say hello to everybody, just really briefly. I know everyone's super busy. It's like the first day of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere and the first day of summer down in the Southern Hemisphere. And for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the shortest day and the longest night. And we are officially plunged into darkness. I'm breaking one of my own rules that I usually have for solstice. It's not a rule, but it's a practice. I like to not use electrical lights on solstice so that I can really feel the depths of the darkness. So for you guys, you can see me and I'm not a creepy shadow. I have my lights on in this room, but as soon as I get off air, I'm going to try to turn all the lights off and only have candlelight. I have my little candle. And to really, really feel the tactile nature of the darkness of this night, and also to be able to really appreciate the sun. When the sun rises tomorrow morning, after spending a night in darkness, then I can really remember the incredible power and strength of that sun. It's really odd. I was just thinking about how odd it is that we start off winter on the day when light is reborn. And so it's been getting darker and darker, darker ever since the beginning of summer. And the nights have been getting longer and longer, and sunset's been starting earlier. And now we're entering winter officially, which is the coldest month, the coldest season, the coldest time of year, the time when in this Northern Hemisphere, everything comes to a close and comes to this place of hibernation or sleep or death. And yet it's also the time when light begins to return and be reborn. So it's really interesting paradox. And I think that so many things that I experience on the spiritual journey, the conscious evolution of one's spirit while in human form, is such a fun journey. And one of the things that's just absolutely, completely chock full of paradox, where things, this is sort of what I consider to be like the fourth or fifth dimension, is like things go inside and invert themselves and stretch back out. And it's this sort of motion of reality that the universe actually moves in. So along those lines, I had my little, here we go, my pocket Pema lives in my bathroom, and I love pocket Pema so much. I love Pema. Pema Chodron is one of my favorite teachers. I absolutely adore her. And so I keep my pocket Pema in the bathroom, and it's the perfect little length. These little little readings here usually are just like a page and a half long or a page long. And they're just little snippets of her teachings, and I find them to be a great thing to kind of start my day off or to take a little break and contemplate. And the reading that I read this morning is number 52, The Journey Goes Down, Not Up. And I thought it really, really felt resonant to me, where I'm at right now, but also where we are right now with this holiday, with solstice and with the holidays in general. So I'm going to read it to you. The journey goes down, not up. Spiritual awakening is frequently described as a journey to the top of the mountain. We leave our attachments and our worldliness behind and slowly make our way to the top. At the peak, we have transcended all pain. The only problem with this metaphor is that we leave all the others behind. Our drunken brother, our schizophrenic sister, our tormented animals and friends. Their suffering continues unrelieved by our personal escape. In the process of discovering bodhicitta, which is the bodhisattva heart, the journey goes down, not up. It is as if the mountain pointed towards the center of the earth instead of reaching towards the sky. Instead of transcending the suffering of all creatures, we move towards the turbulence and the doubt. We jump into it. We slide into it. We tiptoe into it. We move towards it however we can. We explore the reality and the unpredictability of insecurity and pain. And we try not to push it away. If it takes years, if it takes lifetimes, we let it be as it is. At our own pace, without speed or aggression, we move down and down and down. With us move millions of others, our companions in awakening from fear. At the bottom, we discover water, the healing water of bodhicitta. Right down there in the thick of things, we discover the love that will not die. Whew. So that's just a beautiful reminder for me. That feels like just, I'm pointing here, I guess you can't see it, but going into and going into and going into my heart the center of my heart and reaching deeper and deeper for that place of stillness, that place of love, and that place of tenderness. And, you know, Pema often talks about bodhicitta heart, which is the awakened heart of the bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is someone who's awakened but decides to reincarnate. In Buddhist ideas, once you're liberated, once you're fully awakened, you're liberated from the cycle of reincarnation. You don't have to come back into form. But a bodhisattva is someone who awakens and chooses to come back into form to help others. And so bodhicitta is the heart of the bodhisattva. And it's a place of intense tenderness. And you are very, as you awaken, as we remove the blocks that guard our heart from feeling fully the love that we have for others, or the love that is given to us by others, once we remove those blocks and start to really, really feel, one of the first things people feel is extreme amounts of suffering, right? And the world is full of suffering, the suffering of animals, the suffering of the environment, the suffering of each other, the suffering of ourselves. We are just completely, this is our common thread. Our common thread of life forms is that we experience suffering. And it's part of our medicine. It's part of what we're here to learn about. So when we feel that suffering, often that newly awakened heart will start to close down again, and will start to try to brace itself against that suffering and start to push it away. Like, I can't see it. I can't look at it. I don't want to see it, right? And the beautiful process of Tonglen, which I taught in a ceremony earlier this week, and it was really, really powerful. It was on the subject of heart opening and heart cleansing. And I talked to my team about this today, and it touched us all so deeply. So I'm going to share this with you, even though this isn't a technical pulse report. I want to give what I can to you guys at this time. But the practice of Tonglen is another Buddhist technique, and it's used to process the energy of suffering. So in the traditional sense, it just means to breathe in the suffering of others into your hearts and digest it in the flame of your heart, and to exhale relief, whatever the relief would be. And in the way that I was taught by my teacher, Frank Kopetiers, who's my Reiki instructor, my Reiki master, he taught us to do it first for ourselves, then for others, and then for a place on the planet. So respirating that concentric circle out and then bringing it back in, but always starting with your own suffering, your own self, right? Because it's hard. It's easier sometimes to do these things in service of others. It's harder to acknowledge our own state of suffering. So doing both is really important. But I like to do it as a 4-part breath, where your inhale, as you breathe in the suffering, you imagine it as a specific color, is often really helpful. You breathe in that color, that suffering. You exhale it down into your heart, and then you pause and you watch the heart digest it. You watch the heart start to eat away at that color and transmute it, transform it into relief, into healing. And then you inhale that healing color up, and you blow it out through your mouth onto the person, or onto yourself, or onto the earth. So this gives you a really practical, empowered way to approach suffering, because we need those tools, right? If our desire is to awaken, then our desire is to open our hearts. And if we are going to open our hearts, we are naturally going to come face to face with suffering. And that is the path. The path is actually down, not up. So that's my gift to you guys today, as we plunge into darkness and we get to contemplate this death that precedes the rebirth. And this whole time of year that's really, for us in the Northern Hemisphere, about the rebirthing of light and our relationship with that rebirthing. We must also honor the darkness, honor the death, and honor the suffering. Okay? My sincere love and appreciation of each one of you who see this. I hope that your heart has a chance to take in some of this light during this holiday, to take in the love that you give, to take in the love that is given to you, and to truly feel it. Feel the tenderness of that, because it's worth it. Okay? My sincere love to you, and I hope that you guys have a good night. Okay, bye.